Hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity and welcome to my monthly makeup review for July. Oh my goodness, July was insane. If you follow me on Snapchat, you know what kind of insanity I've been going through, but I did want to kind of throw it out there because I was so busy. There's not going to be a whole lot of pictures to give like I've been doing with my eyeshadows. I tried out I have reviews for 3 eyeshadow palettes, but I don't have very many pictures to show you because it was so insane, so busy. Many days I wasn't able to take pictures. So keep that in mind. I'm going to show you what I do have. Let's just go ahead and get talking about my monthly makeup reviews from this past month. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the fails. I don't have too many, so that's good. But the first one I want to talk about is the Covergirl Vitalist Go Glow Luminizing Lotion. Not only does it smell weird, and I forget who was, I think Lauren May Beauty described it as like a Chex Mix or some kind of cereal, and I can agree with that. I don't know, it just smells a little weird and off when you're smearing it all over your face, but that wasn't the reason I put this in a fail. I put it in a fail because the 2 times that I wore this on my face, at the end of the night I had a couple breakouts pop up that quickly. They were only like really surface, they weren't anything too deep, so I was very thankful for that, but it was something I noticed and no thank you. If any product's gonna break me out, I'm just going to keep on moving. So for that reason, this is a fail. Next I have, I believe this is called, or pronounced Practk. It is Sigma's like sister brand, and they originally came out with a little thing you can put around your hand to clean your brushes, and then this is their newest launch, which is a beauty sponge, and it's in my fail because I don't like it. I really don't care for how firm this is. Even when you wet it, it's still really darn firm, so I kind of feel like I'm beating my face up when I'm using it. I like the angle, I like the shape, but just the texture, the feel of it, the hardness of it, like it's not very soft like the Beauty Blender when you get it wet, or even Sigma's 3D HD. This sponge. They almost feel the same, except when I wet them, this stays pretty darn firm, whereas this gets soft. Not as soft as the Beauty Blender, but pretty darn soft. And then this, I just feel like it stays rock hard. I mean, it's not a rock hard, but it's just pretty firm, and it's not my preference, so for that reason, this was a fail for me this month. Another fail, and I'm kind of really bummed to say this, but it is the NYX Epic Ink Liner. I feel like I hear a lot of people rave about this. I feel like this has a very cult following, and I'm scared of it. Let's put it that way. This thing scares me. The first couple times I used it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so nice. It gives me a matte line and a matte wing, which I love for my wing liner. Like just the lightest touch gives you such intense black, and I don't see it fading when I would do it on my hand. I thought it was great the first couple times, had no problems, but, and I don't know if it depends on the type of shadow I'm using. I don't know if it depends on the type of primer I'm using. I haven't been able to figure out what exactly does it, but there are some days when I go to use this, it bleeds everywhere. It fades, like it bleeds and fades as it goes, so it gives you this really terrible looking cat eye that kind of looks like you just have a black eye. It's sometimes, I don't know if it's just because I don't shake it well enough, but I'll go to use it and I'll get a ton of product in one area and then it, not enough in the other one, so it's just, it ends up looking splotchy. Yeah, and that just kind of terrifies me, and like I said, there are some days I would use it, it'd be beautiful, gorgeous, I had no issues, but there were some days it completely ruined my eye look to the point where I had to basically go and take off all my makeup and redo it because it would just start bleeding, and I would try to get it to stop. I'd be using a Q-tip to try to dry it up because I thought, well, maybe my eyes were wet or I was tearing up. Nope, it was nothing of that. It was this thing, and it just made me so mad. And after that day, it was just like, I don't want to use this because I don't know how it's going to behave. So yeah, I took a poll on my Instagram and asked people, like, do you guys love this? Do you guys hate it? And quite a number of people did say that they don't like this. So it's just not worth the stress, and it's not worth the, the fear of like, is it going to make my eyes look, my eye makeup look great with a nice wing, or is it going to totally destroy all the work I did? So because of that, this is a fail for me. And then last up for my fails is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Boost and Set. And this, I really struggle with if I should put it in the fail or in just the okay category, but I am putting it in the fail because while I like how it tints my brows, and for me, I have pretty full brows, on days where I didn't want to do my brows, I would just run this through and it would give enough color to them for them to look put together, especially on the days when I went very light with my makeup. But the reason I'm putting it in the fail category is, number one, the first time you use this, unless you sit there and scrape it off, it will just plunk a ton of product in one spot and you have to sit there and try to blend it out. So I eventually learned that I really have to scrape it off so then I get an even layer. So that was a little bit of annoyance, but the major thing that made me put this in the fail category is because it doesn't hold my brows down. Like, it will give them color, it will tint them, but it's still, by the end of the day, I have brows going in every direction, and I have pretty thick brows. They're pretty stubborn and thick, so if they're not sitting down and being held down by something, they'll stick straight up, they'll go down, they'll go all over the place. They do not want to lay straight. So the fact that this just didn't help that situation doesn't make me ever want to purchase again. So yes, it gives me a nice look when I leave my makeup table, but it doesn't do anything for longevity, and it just doesn't help my makeup or my brows look nice throughout the whole day. So for that reason, I don't like it, don't plan to repurchase it, and really can't recommend it. At least if you have thick brows and like thick, coarse brow hairs like me. Alright, so we have a good chunk of okay products. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it. First up, let's talk about this foundation. This is the No. 7 Stay Perfect Foundation. This is just in the okay category for me now. It's what I have on my face today, but the reason I put it as my okay is because I feel like while I don't mind how it looks once I have my makeup finished and I'm, you know, throughout the day and all that, it wears down a little bit throughout the day, but not terribly. My issue is that I struggle applying it. And I feel like every time I would use this to put on my makeup, I would feel like there'd be areas where it wasn't sticking right and it would look splotchy, and so I'd have to go back over a couple different areas and squirt a little more product to get it to blend out nicely and not look patchy. So that was kind of annoying, and I feel like this just kind of looks like foundation, but the fact that it isn't full coverage, it kind of seems pointless for me to go through the hassle of trying to make this look smooth and not patchy on my skin, but it doesn't really give me a lot of coverage, but it still looks like makeup on me. So for that reason, I'm just like, why am I going through the stress of wearing this when it doesn't even give me full coverage, yet it looks like I'm wearing a full coverage makeup, and yet at the same time I have to spend so long blending it out and trying to blend it into my skin to the way I like it. So maybe that's just something where like light to medium coverage foundations are always like that, where you just kind of have to spend a little longer blending it to make sure it's not patchy. I don't know. I'm starting to get a little more into like lighter coverage foundations, but this one just really bothered me. I was just wanting it to give me a little bit more of ease of application and a tiny bit more coverage so I didn't have to spend so long blending. But I mean, there wasn't anything bad about it. I didn't notice it like wearing away super fast. I thought it lasted nicely. I thought it looks nice on the skin. I don't know. I think I was just expecting to like it a lot more because I've heard a lot of people say really great things about it, and with just those little things that bug me, I was just let down a little bit. So I think that's mostly why it's just in the okay category, and it's just, I don't know. It wasn't a favorite of mine. It wasn't a fail though, because it does do the job and it does look nice, so that's why it's in the okay category. Next up we have the No. 7 Translucent Perfecting Light Loose Powder. This I do like, but I'm putting it in the okay category for a couple reasons, and mostly because I also tried the press version, which we're going to talk about later, and comparing them two side by side, this one's lower than that one. And a couple reasons, one of them being that when I would use these side by side, this one on one eye and then the press on the other eye, I noticed that this one creases just a little bit more. Not super noticeably, not terribly, so it still looks nice, but compared to one that doesn't crease, this creases. So for that reason, it's kind of, I don't know, there's a better powder out there, so that's why this is just like, it's okay. It's nice to set my whole face, and that's kind of what I've been using it for. I did not bake with this just because I haven't been in a season where I am baking, and this past month was so busy I didn't have time to think about it. But for setting the face, it's very, very nice, and setting the under eyes, it does the job. It just doesn't last as long or look as nice as the other one. So I feel like this is a long time coming, but I have the Rani Cosmetics liquid lipstick in henna. I have been trying, I want to say for like 2-3 months, I just couldn't get to it. Finally, I have been able to give it a good like 4 or 5 tries of wearing it long term, and I really do like it. It's not my favorite. I still think that the Smashbox metallic, always on metallic liquid lipsticks are my favorite when it comes to a metallic lipstick, but these are very nice. It looks pretty, and I think my favorite thing about this is that when you apply it on from far away, it really doesn't look like you're wearing a metallic lip. Like, it's not super shiny in your face. It's just a very subtle bit of shimmer and glitter. I think glitter. I don't even know what you call these. A bit of shimmer to it. When it wears away, though, it does leave a bit of a glitter finish to it. Kind of like no color. The color wears away, and there's a bit of glitter. This is like gold glitter left on your lips. So that's a little but it wears nice. It feels very comfortably on the lips, but once it starts, like once I start to eat or something, I tend to want to just wipe it off, and it does wipe off very easy, so that is nice. So overall, this is nice. I do like it. It's in my okay category though, because I wouldn't purchase another shade, and I'm not a fan of metallic liquid lipsticks, and this one didn't convince me to be a fan of it, if that makes sense. It's nice. I'll continue to keep this and use it in my collection, but it didn't make me want to purchase anymore. So I also tried the number 7 matte liquid lips. I have one other color that I tried more than these two, but they're just okay because they're liquid lips that don't dry down, which is kind of frustrating because when I see liquid lip, I want it to be like a matte liquid lip, so it's a little disappointing. And especially since it says matte liquid lips, I was expecting it to be transfer proof, but it is most definitely not. It's like a very pigmented, very nice cream gloss. So with that in mind, it doesn't last. It gets on everything, and if your kid bumps into you, it smears everywhere. It does last reasonably if I can keep my kids from bumping into me. It lasts nicely, fades gracefully, but it's just not my favorite because it's not bulletproof, and I need my lipsticks to be bulletproof. If you like lip glosses and you want something super pigmented, I do think you would really like these, and I would actually really recommend these over the lipstick I'm going to talk about next. But overall, they're okay. What I have a harder time recommending is the NARS Velvet Lip Glide in Bound. It's what's on my lips today. It is very much like the number 7 matte liquid lip formula. They both have that kind of creaminess, making you think of like a very pigmented lip gloss, and as you can see, it gives a very shiny finish. But the difference with this and the number 7 is that this fades faster and wears away faster than the number 7. And this is a whole lot more expensive than the number 7. So if you tried this on in store, or were playing with it in store and really want to try one of these, you like the formula, I'd say try the number 7 first and save a few dollars. And I feel like it lasts better than this one. Like, I just applied this before I started this video, and I feel like it's fading a good bit already. Like, I'm starting to see the lines of my lips, which typically tells me that it's fading and, you know, just going away. So I don't want to purchase a full size or any other colors in this. All right, let's talk about some highlighters. I have the IT Cosmetics Hello Light Anti-Aging Radiance Powder Illuminizer in the shade Radiance. I have this from IT Cosmetics. It's one of their highlighters. I don't think I've ever tried a IT Cosmetics highlighter, so I was curious to try it, and it's nice. And honestly, when I was trying it on, every time I wore it, I thought about what is it even called? This baby, it's the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, and honestly, they're extremely similar. They're a tad bit different in color, but the finish is very, very close. They both have that very soft finish to them, kind of like a very natural highlight, almost you can't even tell. So let's see. We'll do it here. This is the IT Cosmetics, and this is the Essence. So there they are. They're both pretty darn, I guess I did that on my knuckle, so it's not as good. They both have that very soft finish. If you use your finger to really pack it on, you can get it to look pretty obvious, but if you use it with a brush, I just found that I had to really, really build it up if I wanted it to be an obvious highlighter. So with that in mind, if you don't want an obvious highlighter, you want something very natural, I think you would really like this. But with that said, I feel like you'll get the same look with this, and it's a whole lot cheaper. So there's that. But for me, this product was just okay, because if I'm gonna go for that natural of a highlight, I just don't put any highlight on. I don't know, it was okay. I did want to give a little review on the Smashbox and Vlada Petal Metal Highlighter, and this is in Prismatic Petal. This one I believe was exclusive to Sephora for a while. Now I can only find it on the Smashbox website, but it's the highlighter that has a very, very pinky gold finish to it. It's absolutely beautiful to look at, absolutely gorgeous. But on the face, it's too pink for me, at least for my preference. And it has like a very chunky, pinky peach like look to it. I don't know. I didn't care for it for being wearable everyday type of highlighter. If you're someone who does like a lot of highlight and likes colorful highlights, I can see you liking this. But just comparing this formula to the, what was it, Gilded Rose. The Gilded Rose, the formula is just so much nicer. It's creamier, and the formula just feels a lot more fine, if that makes sense. So here's the Gilded Rose, and then here's a Prismatic Petal. There's the both. Not the best swatches, but I think you can kind of see this just is it gives you a very chunky type of highlighter, whereas this is a lot more fine. And I feel like when I would put it on the face, this would almost just look like a streak of pink and peach and very chunky, whereas when I put this on my face, it just looks like the most beautiful sheen, and it just very reflective, and it didn't look super like big and chunky. I don't know, just since I used this after using this one's just, I think, a nicer formula than this, and then this just has that pinky shift that makes it less wearable for me. So that's why I put this in my okay category, and honestly, I can kind of see myself decluttering this down the road since I have this and I like it so much, and this is just, I don't know, I didn't like the formula as much. So next up, the Beauty Crop sent me their new Travel Tea Palette, and I chose the Mediterranean Spring. I took this with me on vacation at the beginning of the month, and this one is more friendly for my skin tone. The other one is a lot deeper, brighter colors, so great if you have a deeper skin tone than me. But I chose this one to try, and it had 4 highlighters, 2 cream highlighters, 1 bronzer, matte bronzer, and then 1 matte blush. And I got to use this a lot because this was the only face palette that I took with me on my trip. And today I have the highlighter is this with a tiny touch of this mixed in. I'm using this as my bronzer, and I'm using this as my blush. They are very nice. I think that the highlighters are absolutely stunning. As you can see, it just gives a very blinding highlight, and when I go and wash my face off at the end of the day, it's still there and it's still pretty darn evident. So they have a lot of lasting power. My issue though is that these 2 creams I've used them once. They're pretty darn nice. I'm not into creams though, so don't take my word on reviewing a cream product, but they're getting like powder in them. Like this one right here, which is a light one, has pink from this blush mixed into it, so it's gonna muddy it up and make it weird looking pretty darn soon. And the fact that they're creams, they're gonna go bad before these powders do, and so I don't know, I don't like that they have these 2 creams. That really bothered me. I really wish they didn't. The blush is very nice. It's very pigmented, so I tended to always use the Real Techniques blush brush because it's so big and fluffy. It's very easy at diffusing a really bright blush, but it lasted nicely. It stays nicely on my face. The bronzer is also really nice, but I'm gonna go ahead and stick a close-up here. And I've used it a lot. As you can see, it used to have that this kind of sun imprint on it, and it's all gone because I've used it so much, but it has all these bumps to it that I tend to only see in cheaper products. And I hate to say that, but that's the only time I've ever noticed those kind of bumpiness. So the fact that that's there, and this isn't a particularly cheap palette, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say it's like $20 or $30 for this face palette. That bothered me a little bit that it's doing that already. And like I said, I probably used this like maybe all together from this past month for 2 weeks. So I feel like that's not a whole lot of time for it to already have those kind of bumpy thingies showing up on it. So overall, that's why it's in my okay category. I love the highlighters. I think they're stunning, but with that said, I really only use these 2. This one just makes my face look a little muddy weird because it's kind of like my skin tone, maybe a touch darker. And this one's pink. I don't like a pink blush topper. I don't want pink on the top of my cheekbones. So really, I only use these 2 and these 2. So out of the 8 products or 8 pans they have in here, I'm only using half of them. It's okay. And very last in the okay category is also from the Beauty Crop. It is the Espresso Yourself eyeshadow palette with coffee extract, apparently is what it says here. But I took this on my week-long vacation as well, and it's a nice neutral palette. If you want to keep to neutral browns and stuff like that, you will like this palette. It has a nice little matte base that was really nice. It has a couple really nice transition shades. It doesn't really go too deep and dark, and these darker shades, like these 2 are the only like matte dark ones. And I feel like whenever I use them, they looked pretty darn the same, like they didn't deepen up all that much. It was more of like a muddy brown. The shimmers aren't anything outstanding. They're definitely not metallic. They are more of a soft shimmer. If you like more easygoing natural eye looks every day, nothing too crazy. The eye looks that I got with this palette, most days I didn't do any kind of eyeliner. I just put a couple of these shadows on my lid, did mascara, and I was out the door. And they looked nice. It still looked put together. So if you're wanting a palette like that and you want something with so many different options, this might be for you. But with that said, it's not super cheap. I want to say it was like $30. I'm not exactly sure. But I can say you do get a lot of variety in different type of shades, so you can change it up as much as you can change up a neutral eye look. But also keep in mind that the pans themselves are pretty darn tiny, like the size of my finger. But with that said, it does the job nicely, and if you like this type of look, if you like these type of shadows, I do think you'd be pretty darn happy with this palette, and the packaging is pretty darn cute. Alright, moving right along into my favorites, I do want to mention real quick the Norvina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I tried this out the last week or so. I think it might have been exactly a week, 7 days. If you want to see my full review, and I also do eye swatches, I do arm swatches, and I do a tutorial, you can click the link up here or down in the description box to watch my full review. But yeah, I really do like it. I can definitely see myself reaching for it in the future. So the number 7 Perfect Light Pressed Powder in Translucent is the setting powder that has stolen my heart. I am very impressed with how this sets and holds my makeup, not only on my under eyes, but also like all over my face. It does a really good job, and when I use this under my eyes, it doesn't crease by the end of the day, which I think is very impressive. Another thing that I love about this is it is so extremely finely milled. It is gorgeous. It does, I will say this though, that it does lighten my makeup a little bit. So while it does say translucent, it lightens it just a tad, maybe like 1 shade. So keep that in mind, and if you're much darker than me, I think this would probably only suit you if you're going to be setting your under eyes, because you want that to be a little bit brighter. But that is like the one con I do want to point out. But for me, this has been amazing this past month. Talking about the setting powder, I do want to mention this very quick. I've mentioned it before in favorites, so I'm not going to spend a long time, but this is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and this is just stolen my heart once again this past month. I always knew that I liked this a little bit more than other concealers, but I never really could put my finger on it until this past month. This thing doesn't crease on me. So I'm not, as I said, I'm not going to go into it because I have mentioned it before in favorites and how much I like it. But I did want to say that this past month I noticed several times using this and then using the Maybelline Fit Me that this doesn't crease, whereas the Maybelline creases just a little bit by the end of the day. So definitely worth the extra money in my book. A brow pencil I do want to talk about is the Eyelure Brow Pencil in number 10. It's dark brown. This is really nice, and I have it in my brows today. I am very impressed with this and just how easy it is to fill in my brows, how well it stays throughout the day, how easy it brushes out, how long it lasts in my brows. When I wash my face off at the end of the day, I don't notice any kind of fading in my brows with this in there. It doesn't smear throughout the day if my kids like are bumping into my face or I'm wiping it. So overall, this I'm just very impressed with. I did not expect to be this impressed, but I do like it. The only con to me is that it's a sharpened pencil. Honestly, that's not a huge deal, and I want to say this wasn't too expensive, maybe like $8, so not bad. But yeah, I really, really do like it, so that's why I wanted to mention it and make sure people are aware that their makeup products are pretty darn good too. I also want to mention the Bare Minerals Matte, what is this called? Bare Minerals Matte Foundation. It's the loose powder in the matte formula. I really like this. I feel like everyone always talks about how good the Bare Minerals loose foundations are, and I've always just kind of passed over them because I've been such a liquid foundation girl and a full coverage foundation girl. But within the last couple months, I just felt like, with one, being so busy with the kids, and two, I feel like my skin's been in a pretty good place. So I've been wanting to have a good powder foundation that I can just like very quickly dust over my face and be done. This is what I took with me when I went on vacation with my family, and it was fantastic. I didn't have a lot of time to get ready in the mornings, and this is really quick and easy to do. I've really kind of fallen in love with loose mineral foundation, and I really honestly never expected to. I'm sorry if my shirt's moving. I'm feeding Gideon down here, so he's playing with my shirt. But anyway, I really like it, and I really do like it for the days when either I'm not wearing a lot of makeup or I spend so long on my eyes. Gideon wakes up, he wants to be fed. I need something really quick just to finish it off and be, done and go about my day. This is really nice. It lasts fairly well. Overall, very impressed with this. And then let's talk about what's on my eyes right now is the Colored Raine Queen of Hearts palette. I am so excited to finally own this. I picked it up when they had a sale. I can't remember when, but I finally got to try it this past month, and I loved all the looks that I created with this palette. Overall, I think, oh my gosh, you can see his hair. Overall, I think this is a really nice palette. I did notice that I had to wear some type of glitter glue underneath these metallics because they would fade throughout the day. Oh, come on, Gideon, let's say hi instead of just showing our head. Say hello. Hello. Yeah, overall, I think this is a really nice palette. I do love having it. The looks that I created with this have been a lot of fun. Yeah, honestly, I feel like I like this a little bit more than the Modern Renaissance. All right, 2 brushes I want to talk about, and then we are done. Very briefly, I want to talk about the Luxie 516 Duo Fiber Powder Brush. I got this in my BoxyCharm not too long ago, and I have just found myself reaching for it again and again and again this past month, even though I've already kind of reviewed it, and I can have the option of going back to my usual brushes. I'm still reaching for this, and the reason I'm reaching for this is for my contour, because it gives me it's the easiest thing to blend out your contour with, basically. It's just so easy to not only get in there and really, you know, because of that pinchedness to this brush, but to just get right in my cheekbone. But because of that duo fiberness to it, it blends out so effortlessly, and just like you do this a bit and boom, it's blended out. It looks great. It's not too harsh. I did want to mention here because it's fast becoming one of my favorite brushes for contour. And then very last is a Sigma High Cheekbone Highlighter F03 brush. I've been wanting to buy this brush for a long time, but just hadn't gotten around to it. And then Angelica did a little collab with Sigma, and this was one of the brushes included in her brush set. And so I finally got it. I've finally been using it, and I absolutely love it. And I think this is, to date, my favorite brush for applying my highlighter. My favorite brush used to be this type of brush. It's kind of just like a super large blending brush, but it used to be this because it's so easy to just kind of like sit right on top of your cheekbones and blend it in. But this is even better because it's a lot more compact and it's pinched here, so you can just kind of put it into your palette and then lay it on your cheekbones and just go back and forth, and you can I kind of turn it this way and do this to blend it out, and you're just done. It's so easy. And I feel like almost pretty much any highlighter you can get a blinding highlight, because this just packs it on and makes it so intense so easily. So I highly recommend this brush. I'm glad to have it in my life. This is a love, and Angelica, thank you for including this in your brush collection because I love it. Alright, so there you have it. Those are all my monthly favorites, fails, and just okay products. He is chewing on my brush. Little guy has 4 teeth and he's crawling, so everything is in danger now. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you guys had fun seeing what I found to be really great this month, and also enjoyed seeing the little guy. He decided to take a short nap today, so Mama didn't get it all filmed before he woke up. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and find a different toy for him to chew on so he can stop ruining the handle of my brush. But I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys had a good July. My July, as I said, was crazy busy, but it was very good, and I'm excited to see what August has in store. August has a special place in my heart because not only is it my birth month, but also like it's the verge of fall, and you guys know fall is my favorite season, so I'm excited. I'm excited for fall. But yeah, I hope you guys had a fantastic July, and I hope you guys have a great August, and yeah, I will see you in my next video.